I decided to watch the National Geographic documentary on Hurricane Katrina, Racing Against Time, and it's shocking. I believe it's 5 or 6 episodes, and I am on episode 1. Obviously, we know the aftermath of Katrina and the consequences that are still being felt by Katrina, but episode 1 is just, the buildup of what happened. So I'm going to go over some key takeaways that I took away from the episode. I'm realizing that we are coming up on 20 years, and Katrina happened when I was 15, which unfortunately for me is not the best time to be super serious about historical information or important things that are happening. So I definitely wanted to take time to go back and see what happened, hear from different perspectives, and also as I'm getting older, I'm realizing whose side of history have I been listening to. So just a way to be more aware and not live so naively. My key points are not in any chronological order. It's just going to be what I can remember from the episode. And just important things that I found very egregious. First thing that comes to mind is the fact that a year before Katrina, New Orleans did a hurricane simulation, and they knew that at least 120,000 people were not going to make it out. Specifically, those living in poverty, those living in certain wards, those who are elderly, disabled, they knew were not going to make it out. So I'm confused as why proper planning was not started immediately after you know this information. The next point is that the oil industry that are digging around New Orleans, basically in the swamps, the cypress trees provide a natural barrier against waves. So once the oil industry gets their hands on stuff, the trees are dying. So there's no natural defense against waves that are coming into the city, which could have helped, but unfortunately didn't, because Katrina got there, the trees were dead. The swamps had no natural barrier against these waves that were coming in. I thought Katrina was a massive hurricane, and that during this hurricane, it caused the levees to break. I thought it was just that simple. But things are two different, not one caused the other, but they're two different days of this happening. So the hurricane came, it was a bad hurricane, but then the waves during the hurricane the surge was pushing up against the levees that eventually did break. So based on episode 1, the storm is gone and the levees are seeming to break. That's the lead up. Ending episode 1, going into episode 2, was that the levees were starting to break after the storm was over. Of course, when the storm was announced, it was too late for people to leave. It's like saying, leave LA tonight because the storm's coming in the morning. It's like, it's going to be gridlocked. It's going to be crazy. How are people supposed to be getting out? So then eventually they're saying, I hope you're not in a car, because the car is the worst place to be right now. So people started turning around and going to the Superdome. Mayor and other officials are in hotels, and the rest of the city who was not able to make it out, primarily Black people, were in the Superdome. Those who did not evacuate did so because they didn't want to leave their property. They had elderly or disabled family members or themselves, and they just physically cannot leave. Most cannot afford to leave. There were no buses that came to pick anyone up, so if you're in a wheelchair or if you don't have a car, you're not able to just physically leave your home. I think it's sad how much human error plays a role in natural disasters and catastrophes, just how human stupidity causes a lot more destruction than the natural disaster does. The documentary is very well made. I'm a visual learner, so having everything laid out on a map of where things were and how they were happening really helped me get a better visual. But I've been to New Orleans since Katrina, and the consensus is it's not the same post Katrina. That's episode 1. I'm going to give my key points after each episode, but I know it's going to get more shocking and more just disappointing. So if you are interested, even if you're not interested, I definitely suggest that you start watching it. Let's open our eyes, people.